Hi guys, it's Alston. In this video, we are going to take a look into Start Infinity. In this video, it's going to be a deep dive video because I have been testing this SaaS for the last 30 days. So in this video, I'm going to show you an in-depth review based on my personal experience and also important function which need to be highlighted, and also will be sharing the pros and cons which I found out during the testing process, and also will be finally giving my feedback on something like how I compare this with some other tools like ClickUp or Airtable or Trello, one of the most common which I see regarding this similar layout and functionalities. So I will be sharing those opinion as well. So without further ado, let's directly jump into the video. The first important thing is what is Start Infinity. It's not like other tools where there is one standard definition, focused definition, because we can simply say it like task management, project management, or database tool, but actual definition can range on how we are using it, on what use cases. For example, this provides a tool set where you can take that tool set and use it according to your way. For example, you can use this as something like project management system or CRM or a to-do list or task board, or to collect feedback from your user, or to use as a roadmap and feedback log, or use it as a content calendar or social media marketing calendar. The use cases are unlimited. It just gives you a tool set of task, data management sheets, visual drag and drop stuff, and you with that you can create almost anything according to the use case or the need you have. So that is the basic definition of Start Infinity. Now let's directly jump into the dashboard and see how it looks like. For example, this is the dashboard. We can see basically the menu is considered this. You can use this to navigate when you're on different places. The sidebar shows you the three different component. One is the workspaces. What do workspaces means is that it gives you a different ways to organize multiple different projects within one brand. Let's say, for example, your company have two different brands, or you have two different companies, or you prefer to keep something separated without any interaction between multiple stuff. Then you can ideally create a workspace, different workspace according to their plan limit. Then you can assign dedicated members to that particular workspaces. You can have different permission levels within that members, so you can have a much more better controllability. So that is the main point of workspaces. Ideally, you can have just one workspace and create multiple projects within them, and you can assign the permission within that also is possible. So you ideally don't need separate workspaces to have separate permissions and different members access. But in case if you prefer different complete brands or different completely no association, then you can create multiple workspaces. Next, it's just account settings and basic stuff, and this is a resource section. This I found it really helpful, especially if you are a new user. They provide helpful center. This is important, that guide to infinity. You go here and you pretty much get all the resources on how to learn everything. This is a very in-depth one, so I would highly recommend you guys to check it out if you are using or planning to get Infinity after watching this video. There is also community forum. All the links of other stuff are provided here. Okay, without wasting no time there, let me directly jump into the section. This is where your main focus is there. It shows these are already different projects which I have created, and it shows how many number of items are in this board and who I'm sharing with it. All the quick detail is giving me from here. For example, I can see this. I can click on it and I can see the settings, permission, I can rename it, color, all these things. So this is how a created project will look like. Now let me show you how to create a brand new project. First, let me go through from start from scratch. We also have the load from template and import from Trello. I will show you the template, but in first let us look at the scratch. When you create a new board, you just need to give a name. For example, test demo for video, and description if you want, and you can also choose a different color for this just to give you a visual indicator, and then you can invite new members into the board if you want, and click on continue. As soon as I created a project, now it has created a brand new project within my particular workspace which I have chosen, and within that it has created one project. In this case, this is the basic output and there is nothing else. The first step you need to do is come here and create new folder. Now you can give a folder. How they are organized is that inside one project you can have multiple different folders to manage multiple different data. For example, if you create a project for project management, one folder can include something like tasks in that project management. Another folder can have client CRM possibility. Another folder can have communications between your community members. So you all the different tasks are part of the project management, but you require separate data sets or data tables and everything between that. That way you can organize different folders for that. So you can create as much as folder you want here. And as soon as you created a folder, now you have the option to choose which do you want to create within this folder, whether is it a table or a column based like Kanban board or list or calendar, Gantt chart, form. All these options are available. I'm just going to pick table but I'll show you guys an example for all these things. When I create table, I am presented here. Now I have the option. First, I can go from the settings and I can add more attributes to this table, this folder, not just table. For example, this is the main name for this, and here you can see it shows I can add a new attribute. Attribute means like a new data column for it. For example, if I come here and click on add an attribute, I have different input field. For example, I have date, where user can select date from the database, and that is possible. Labels are there, like choosing on which is the option you want to choose. You can set up create new label on the go or something like that. Checkbox are there. Text, it's just a normal single text. Long text is available. Checklist is available, where it will create a mini checklist within that particular row that is available. Links available, attachments, number, reference, members, voting, progress bar, rating, email, phone, formulas, where you can create calculations similar to something in Google spreadsheet or Excel. Created at, updated at, source folder. This is for referencing and related relationship between the database. This I haven't used so far because I didn't have the need for it, so I can't comment on this. And also created by, like, who is the person who created this task. So this is ideal for team communication, everything. So you can just choose whatever the field you want, and based on that field you will be presented with more options on how you want to customize this field. Where, for example, I chose rating, it asking me which symbol do I want to use it, and I can give a name here. I can choose the color here on what I want, what is the maximum value, default value. As soon as I created it, a new attribute will be created. For the sake of it, let me also check create one more attribute, and you can see it automatically created. Now when I go into the table field, you can see automatically I got these value as well, and you can start creating this data. For example, test 1, I can select the rating, progress, I choose it. I can also create attribute directly from here. For example, if I click date and choose date, time, and just you can see I clicked on it. Now I choose that, and if I go here, I can see the date also being created here. So not necessarily you have to create it from here. Furthermore, you can customize it further. For example, I don't like the way this format works, so if I want, I can change it according to the way you want. So that's how you can keep on creating more attributes for this all this possibility. For example, you can keep on adding new rows. All these options are available. But the cool thing is currently you are not just restricted to one view, not just in a table format. For example, if I come in this plus mark, now I get an option based on this data sets, whatever I am using it. I want to create a separate viewing experience. I don't want to see this data in a table, but I would prefer to see it in a column format. In that case, I click on here, and it's asking me on this column should be organized on which attribute. Since this is the only select based attribute, it's showing you only that label. So if I click on that, now you can see it is organized by like uncategorized, to do, doing, done, all this. Now for example, if I create another record, let's say test 2, and in this case I'm going to put it into done, and this I'll just choose a random one. If I go here, you can see it is automatically putting into the separate logical order. From here also I can change this stuff. For example, if I take it here, you can see the status are done. So you can have multiple different views. So you're just not limited to column. You can create list where it will look something like this. And let me go into calendar view is also available there. Gantt chart, I haven't personally used this because there is no need for me, so I can't comment on that. Then also form. This is good when you want to collect, let's say for example, you have a table here and you want to get the leads or your users feedback. You can actually create a form here, add a cover image, logo, give a title, description, and you can see all the input, all the layout information will be here. You can assign which is required, not required, want to hide it or not, what is the information do you want to show after the submitting the form. All these options are, if you want to redirect to a different URL after the submission, that is also possible. And once you've done that, you can preview it here on, it will show you how it will look like. For example, if I don't want that powered by Infinity, I can turn that off, and you can see this is well how the form will look like. Now I can share this. For example, I can click on enable and I can get the shareable link and I can share it with anyone if I want to collect the data, and it will automatically, whatever the data it collects, it will be put into this table according to the way we have designed it. And we can also embed the data here. So that is how views work. View automatically takes whatever the data from one set and transform into a different logical viewing experience. And now we look into different search and filtering currently available. One, this search is available in just case. For example, if you want to search something, you can always do the search from here. It will search inside the items or inside the folders. This is limited to the project which you are working right now. And now you have few more options here. For example, if I go into table, I can see different options. This is the interesting one. You can filter now. For example, inside this table, for example, without doing this, let me duplicate this. I want to create a something like done something just for fun sake, and create a filter where I say the progress is there are different options, but I'm just going to show is done. In this case, in this table, it will only show you the records of whatever the projects which has been done. So that way you can create filters as much as you want. You can create multiple filter and choose, and or just it depends on your imagination. So go here, choose whichever the attribute you want, you can create, and you can start put any much on that, and you can start working on it. And if you just want to clear the filter also, you come here and click on this X mark and you are cleared. So this filter will work on almost any different views, and there are some couple of cool things also. For example, in this case, the list is just showing you in an order. If I come here and let me go into group, and I'll show you, I want to group this based on progress. Now it will show you in a group format, like it will group a different item. Let's say, for example, let me add it here itself. I can add a different test to, and let's see, you can see it groups the item. So based on whatever the effective workflow flow you can keep on grouping this stuff. All these things is possible. Sorting option is available, like do you want to sort by name, field, all these different data sets is available. Customize is like, do you want to hide certain columns, you can temporarily do that. And also you can just drag and drop on the different layout you want. All these options are also available. So that is how you different views are used within the Start Infinity. There are other options also. For example, there is an integration with Zapier. I haven't used it, but you can use this to create more automation within this. You can see all this different Zapier stuff is there. I haven't used this even once, so I can't comment on it. And also you can share this. For example, if you go into here, you can give access to different members, and you can also, if you want, you can directly share it publicly so people can create watch this. For example, I'm not sure why I'm not able to take in this, but it will give you an option on whether do you want to share this with guest user just for viewing experience. This they have used it on their own database example. For example, let me go into their website. In that case, I'll show you guys. For example, let me go back to the board until that loads, and you can see there are different. For example, this is one of my database which I'm using of collection of SaaS list. If I go here, you can see different description, name. I can choose link category. Based on this, I can keep on creating different, for example, column, and I want to choose select by category, and you can see different options are available. So that is how you can use it. And if I go into here, now let me show you the load from template. If I go from template and give one template demo, and let me choose continue, now you will get access to all the different ways of using it. They have created a predefined some format. For example, simple, these are the options. We can preview the template from here. For example, if I come here, and it will take time to load, and it shows a preview with demo data, so we can choose it. And if you want to use it, we can use this template. Based on that, they have a lot of different sections. For example, roadmap, events, sales. These are just showing you all the different templates we have used. We think with a basic description, and also they give you an option to preview it before importing. So it's like if you click on preview, it will show you all the data which currently it has. Inside that, you can see the different folders, different sections available. Then you can use this to import, and you can use it. So that is how the template based work. Just for fun, let me import one of these and show you how it will look like. In this case, I'm just going to do project tracker. Let me do that, and I see this the template. Let me click on load template, so you can see the speed on how fast it brings the data. You can see it brought a demo article created project. I can either keep the demo data or delete, or if I want to decide it later, that is also possible. So if I go here, now I can control all this, and you can see different option, and we are not just limited to here. Now I can take it a step further, and I can create a different view for that. So that option is also available. So you can see all the data. I can see a different folder on what it available. There is a link here within the project, so we can create relationship between multiple folders. That is also a possibility. Now let me show you a real example on how they are using it. For example, where is the roadmap? Let me see. Okay, this is the actually for their roadmap, they are actually using their own Infinity share link. So you can see how well it works with public without even logging into the platform. We can see how it will look like and all these things. For example, this is the roadmap on how they are using. They are using different folders. They are using subfolders within that. They are using different views inside that. We can see number of votes, number of comments, all these things in progress. If I go into the in progress tab, it will show you the progress stuff. This is like a progress bar within the tab. So there are so many attributes and everything, and this is a really good live example on how we can use this product. Like it's sorted by the most voted features. I can also vote if I want. You can see I can do that. So this is how we can see a real life example of this program as well. So now let me quickly go over the pros. First pro I think is that it has a very nice user interface. Not my favorite, but it is still good. My favorite, I would say, still it is either ClickUp or Airtable, but it still looks not too bad. So that is a good one. A lot of input types. This is actually my favorite. There are tons of attributes, and some of my favorites are links, where it automatically picks up a thumbnail preview of a link, and it will show you date, resources. All these are really easy when I manage different data tables. Different ways to present the data. Obviously this is almost like an Airtable where we get different options. Here also we get all the different views on to present one single data sets into multiple different view. For example, table, Kanban view, chart, list, all these different options. And sharing and collaborator, you can share workspaces, you can share the one particular project. All these things are possible within that, and you can assign different permission levels, like whether you want to only give them viewing editability or edit option also possible, and lot of templates and demo content. That is a nice feature which I found it out, that they provide different functionality like templates. I have just shown you in the video also. So it's really good. If you, for example, when you create something from scratch, we are met with a blank stuff, we are not sure on which to create, what to create actually. So this templates will definitely help to fast forward or give some inspirations to create it. So those are the main pros. And the final one is that it has a great help support, videos, you name it, everything they have. Like even they help you to have a schedule a call to help you out, and they have a community form within the platform, and also an official Facebook group where there's ton of activity, people are discussing feature request. I am part of the community also, so that's why I know this community stuff. So a lot of help is out there. Now let's take a look into the cons. The first con is that lifetime deal price is really currently low, but still for some of the other project management tools which is currently available or usually comes into this space, it's still a bit highly priced compared to the other project management tool. So that is the first thought I had as soon as that. And also I saw that their monthly plan is much more affordable if you are not willing to pay that full LTD price. So the price is first concern point which I initially started to, as soon as I looked into that was the initial stuff. And if you don't want to a full investment, I would suggest go with the monthly, because it's like $9 currently as of now, so it will make much more sense. But if you prefer to the lifetime deal, you can still go for it, and there are lot of users. For example, for some of this voting features, you can see how many number of votes they are getting. Join their Facebook group or their community, you see other users who are using the product, so there are a lot of users as well. So the next con which I noticed was this is especially for lot of data rows. For example, if this project has 500 data and there is images, and you can see that there is a bit of load time as well. For example, it's not fluently going up. For example, you can see it takes a while to load. If I scroll down, you can see it takes a bit of while. This is I experience especially when I'm working with a lot of data set within one table and with a lot of images. For example, it automatically shows you a embed of image or this video. So usually during this time, when I checked it, I felt that it's a bit slow compared to something like Airtable, which I also use. So I really felt that it's still need to improve on performance and loading time, and also a fluidity. For example, there should be a fluid motion whenever I drag something out of it. For example, you can see it's still good, but there's still not full fluidity in my personal experience, and there is no automations or apps charts or something like that. For example, I'm talking from my personal experience with Airtable, where there is automation apps. We have different apps sort of automation to do various stuff, various filtering option, various searches, various connections. All these options are available, but still this is lacking on that field. So just wanted to point out that. And also I would prefer to see some sort of visual charting ability. For example, if we're collecting data from user using forms, if there's any charts functionality, we can use that to present the data in a more visual approach, something like that, rather than just showing in a table or list or something like that. So that is one it lacking. And also I found out in my when I was testing that there is I prefer to have more relationship or more uniformity within this data. For example, I would love to see search. For example, when I search here, it should search. I don't want to search because some of these tasks are private. I don't want to show it in video. So but if there's something like that, I wanted to search on it. It shows all the different elements from here, so I can get a quick eagle view. And this, I felt that most of these projects are like separate, independent. If you prefer something like that, then it's actually great. But if you want to have feel something like an interconnected feel, then it almost like every board is separate mini workspace, something like that. So that is what I felt. So those are the main cons and pros which I found it out. Personally, from my personal perspective, this is not full experience or something like that. Alternatives, I have tested. I use Airtable and Trello. ClickUp, I have tested it, but I'm not a full user because I have other my favorite tools. So first, based on Airtable, in my personal experience, I still feel Airtable is the more matured and more fast one. Like Airtable speed is super awesome. Like even with 1,000 records, I can just simply grab, scroll through it. It will load. It won't take any seconds to load, populate, or anything like that. It will be instant. And also, I feel that text-wise UI is slightly better than Start Infinity. So still, I feel that Airtable is much better, and also the automation apps and everything. Still, it is superior to Infinity. But Infinity, where I love that Infinity was, it gives you a different, some unique views compared to Airtable, and also it gives you the data to sort, group this stuff. It's was really helpful when I was working with to-do list, where I use this inside my to-do list group with to-do, doing, done, the idea or something like that, and group it, and it shows in nice different nice UI. And also it contains a desktop app even for Linux, which I'm using, and it's really good. So those are the main difference which I noticed it with Airtable. Second, Trello. Trello is really good for simple use case, like if you are only interested in Kanban and you don't care about all these other customization stuff, all the improvements and everything, Trello is perfect. But Start Infinity almost have all the Kanban features and Trello features within just one feature set, and also they do have an option to import directly from Trello. So if you want to just for a simplicity Trello, but if you are looking for more experience or more customization option apart from Trello, then Start Infinity might interest you and will give you a similar sort of, for example, even though you create a Kanban view, can still create different other ways of using the same data, which will give you a much different user experience. And finally, ClickUp. This is not one of my full comparison because I tested Click. That's it. I'm not a personal user of ClickUp, but ClickUp is the most polished when I see within the project management dashboard. It's like it's in a different scale with fluidity. It's like nothing. It's like great really, but it does is more expensive compared to Start Infinity. But what I see it, Start Infinity is going in a good approach. The main point for me is they need to fix on the performance issue, the loading, and you can see some of the features are really good. So if they keeps on working on it, then it might be a good direct competition between something like ClickUp, but right now not as of it now. So those are the main alternative which personal opinion from my user experience. Conclusion wise, I would say that this is a good task management with a lot of use cases. So far I haven't encountered anything major problematic or anything like that. Everything works really good. It gives you a full control over to create databases, table, different management. You can use it for anything you want. You can see I'm using it as a content planning calendar. I'm using it to as a to-do list. I'm using it to monitor my crypto investments, all these things. I'm also using as a bookmark list. So the use cases are different for each person. So far they are going in a good approach, and they are software also looks solid with the design. I am big fan of their website and everything, so it might be interesting to you, and I'm really looking forward to see how they keep on growing into that. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you do, please give a like and give us a thumbs up or subscribe, leave a comment. I really like to see these things, and if there's any question, do let me know. I will make sure to create more. I will make sure to explain to you that. Once again, thank you so much and hope you have a great day. Cheers.